Alright, so we're waking up in Philly. What a beautiful, beautiful city. A cool city. A low-key underrated city. Gonna go out there and eat my way around the town. Gonna get a few things. After I get myself together, we're gonna go out there. So Philly's supposed to be a pretty fun food town. There's more than just cheesesteaks. So I'm going to try a couple of things, a few things here that are away from the traditional cheesesteak that we always know. So let's check out these couple of foods and see how good they are. So apparently pretzels originated in America. They were brought to America and came to America around somewhere in this area, and low-key Philadelphia is the place to get for pretzels. It's like synonymous with the city apparently. Who knew? This place is called Philly Pretzel Factory, so the name's in it. So this is another food from Philly that's supposed to be a big deal, huh? That's how the pretzel's supposed to look, not like the other ones. I did see a place that had the traditional, or that we think is the pretzel, but this might be the original Thai. Got some deep color into it, got the salt. I got some cheese too, even though you're supposed to eat with mustard, but I don't eat mustard. Pretzel. Can you guess what's inside of this pretzel? Cheesesteak pretzel. Can you see that goodness in there? Cheese, onions. Do I see any peppers in there? Maybe. Alright. You have your slow roasted pork, you have your hard provolone right there, and some broccoli rabe and a lot of the juices in there. This is supposed to be a killer sandwich. I love the cheesesteak. I love Philly cheesesteaks, and this is the roast pork of Philly. So let's see how good it's gonna be, y'all. Look at that meat. We have a cheesesteak egg roll, y'all. That side looks pretty dark. This one looks kind of golden brown. All right. Cheesesteak everything. It's nice and hot. It's nice and warm. Okay. Melted is gooey. There's a lot of layer of wonton in there. You can see the steak. I don't think there's any onion in there. You hear that? See that? Oh. I've been out walking for hours, walking miles just to eat, walking to eat, eating and walking. So let's talk about the other unique, or the other quintessential Philadelphia foods that we had today. So, like I went over a little bit before, pretzels were invented over in Europe, or over the Atlantic Ocean, years and years and years and years and years ago. But it was said that it was first brought to the United States in the Pennsylvania area, and I believe it is somewhere close here to Philly. They said the name in the article, but I tried to go to like an artisan place, a place that was said to be really, really good. I ended up going to a chain, something that's around the city that still gets good reviews for pretzels. It was the Philly Pretzel Company or Factory, whatever. It was in the shape of the original the place I was originally going to go to. But when I walked there, they were only cash only. Went to go to the ATM, but I didn't have an ATM card. Came back to see if they did Venmo, and they sold out, so that was good for me. And then I tried to go to South Philly Barbacoa, another well-known restaurant here in Philly, but they were closed. But Philly Pretzel Company took that first bite. Nice solid crust, a little bit of softness into it after the crust, but boy, it was dry, and it wasn't a very pleasant finishing salt or pretzel salt. It was too intense, too much, and yeah, it was dry. I ate it with the cheese spread that they had, too salty as well. Wasn't it? I've had, Auntie Anne's or whatever. A little bit different style of pretzel, still soft pretzel, but it's a little bit more pleasant. It's less dry, less harsh than this factory made pretzel, I guess, or bakery made or whatever. Wasn't it? Some people said they like it. There was people who came in and before me and after me, but it ain't it. I wanted to try City Center Pretzel Company. They sold out and they only took cash that one time, but they usually take cards. Mm. So at the Reading Terminal Market, a big market with lots of different food vendors and butchers and purveyors of goods. They actually had a pretzel place too. I didn't get the original pretzel because it was a different shape. It didn't look like the traditional one that I was looking for. It looked like more of an Auntie Anne's one. It looked pretty good, but I wanted to pass on it because I wanted that true soft pretzel feel. But I did get their cheesesteak pretzel, and their exterior had the nice deep color that I was looking for, rather than their actual soft pretzel. It was a little bit too light skinned for me. This one I broke apart. It had a lot of meat in it. It had cheese. It might have had some peppers and stuff in it, but if it did, it was super thinly cut. Um, so the part of this, I just wish the pretzelness was a little bit more thick and a little bit more pretzely. I know they rolled it and baked it, and it was hollow with the cheesesteak stuff in it, and it just the pretzel was a little bit too almost on the soggier side. Not enough bread to meat ratio for me. The meat itself wasn't super flavorful. The cheese was there, but I feel like if they just enhanced the flavor of the meat, maybe made the dough a little bit more thicker or whatever, and got that baked quality a little bit better, it would have been more pleasant, more of a better experience for me. I'm like a cheese steak snob, and a low key food snob sometimes when I want to be, and I guess I'm being overly critical in this one, but it wasn't nasty. If I gave the Philly Factory cheesesteak or Pretzel Factory a rating, I'd probably give that out of a 10. I'd probably give that like a 3. It was not it. And I'd probably give this cheesesteak more of like a 6 or so, so much better than that. It's just I would tweak some stuff to make it better, but the exterior looked really good. The salt was good. I could have used a little bit more flakes, just a little bit more pretzeliness rather than cheesesteak would have been great. And yeah, that was that. So we went from traditional soft pretzel to a Philly uh, a cheesesteak pretzel for our different food places. What else did I have here in Philly? So when people think about Philadelphia, they think of a sandwich and they know about the cheesesteak. It's the sandwich of Philly. But there's also another sandwich that's been here a long time, maybe just as long as the cheesesteak, that many tourists don't really know and some locals don't really know, and that's actually the roast pork sandwich. It's supposed to be like this big hunk of meat seasoned with herbs and different seasonings, slow cooked, then re-warmed in an au jus, put on a nice roll with some sharp provolone, broccoli rabe, and a little bit more au jus. I went to Tommy DiNic's, also in the Reading Terminal Market, a place that I heard is really good for these roast pork sandwiches. So I went, of course, and I had this whole sandwich. Probably cost me like $11.75, and I just ate half of the sandwich. The flavor of that sharp provolone was strong, too strong. It was sharp. It was real sharp. Did not expect that. I guess I've never had sharp provolone before. It wasn't melty or gooey, and I'm not a sharp cheddar person, but provolone I actually do enjoy. But this was a really pungent flavor, the most powerful flavor in this sandwich. I heard that the meat was supposed to be really flavorful, but that was not necessarily the case. I heard this sandwich was supposed to be really juicy and messy, but mine wasn't juicy and messy. The meat was, it was hefty amount of meat, good amount of meat. It just wasn't doing much for me as far as flavor. The Like I said, the sharp provolone was the biggest flavor. The broccoli rabe I actually did like it. It was nice and fresh. It had a nice bite to it. Didn't add too much of its flavor, but it kind of like was there to switch it up a little bit, add some color, add a little bit more fresh bite to it. Just the meat wasn't that exciting for me. Maybe it's my palate or whatever. Maybe I could have used a little bit more salt, a little bit more of those juices concentrated, and the herbs and spices a little bit more hit me in the mouth. It looked really good. It was well constructed. It's just that cheese. I can't get past that cheese. Like, I ended up eating my whole half that I ate, but the rest of that sandwich I gave to a homeless person actually, and I actually only took a few bites of my pretzel and gave that to a homeless person too. So, uh, yeah, I didn't keep it to save for later or to share with anybody else. I just gave it to a homeless person on the street. Hopefully, they enjoyed it. But I'm gonna stick to my cheesesteaks. I think I might go try John's roast pork one of these days to give the roast pork sandwich a third try. Maybe go to Woodrow's sandwiches as well because they do pretty good products too. But um, it wasn't it for me. I'm more of a cheesesteaks person myself. The roast pork. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry, Tommy DiNic. And the last thing I ate for Philadelphia food, of course, it's another cheesesteak thing. It's a cheesesteak egg roll. Apparently, you can get these at local Chinese restaurants. I went to this used to be food truck or used to be Ghost Kitchen. Now it's two restaurants called the Better Box LLC, as they say. I saw this on Thrillist, I do believe, and I was originally gonna get the General Tso cheesesteak, and I probably should have. It's just I had so much food prior, I wasn't ready to just eat another half a sandwich because I definitely wasn't gonna eat the whole thing, so I opted not to. But I got the cheesesteak egg rolls, and these are really crispy. It looked like the cheese was really gooey. They had meat in there. Um, Great overall construction. It's just the ratio is a little bit off for me. It just was a little bit too much cheesy and gooey for me rather than meatiness and then cheese in the meat. It was just more cheese heavy for me, and that's not what I'm looking for with a cheesesteak. The meat wasn't super full, flavorful as well, but the wonton and the exterior is really um, cooked well. It was really crispy. It was a little bit darker on one side, but overall the texture was great. And I'm glad the cheese was melty because a lot of cheese things aren't as super melty that I like it. It's just this one's a little bit more cheesy for me. I actually don't know if it was provolone or not. It might be, but yeah, it wasn't hitting it. Okay, let's rate that roast pork sandwich. The roast pork sandwich is probably I don't know. It's probably like a 6 for me, a 5 for me. So I guess that pretzel and the roast pork sandwich is around the same thing. And I'd probably give this cheesesteak egg roll maybe a 6 as well. So none of these things I ate today blew me out the park. I'm sad to say because I actually think Philly's a really cool place. I think they have a lot of food stuff to offer. It's just today was not an exciting day for me. Maybe if I had South Philly barbacoa, that would have blew me out of the water. But for these other traditional Philly items, I'm gonna just stick to my cheesesteak, which is my favorite sandwich, and I actually like it from Penn Station East Coast Sub, which is actually a chain that does excellent cheesesteaks because their meat is super flavorful. The bread is quality. The cheese is just right. The onions is good. It has lots of flavor. So I actually like Penn Station better than Tony Luke's, Pat's, Geno's, and all that good stuff. But yeah, Philly is a great city. I want to come back. I want to come back and eat some more things. Maybe revisit some other stuff. Try um, John's roast pork. Try Barkley Prime to get the most expensive cheesesteak. Try John's roast pork. But for the things I had today, it just wasn't super exciting, Philly. Let me know if you've been to these places and what you think about these places, these other Philadelphia foods. It's your boy Nicholas. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Oh, my mouth is so tired, I guess. But peace out, y'all.